Good morning, Whisper Nation. It is Waiver Wire Tuesday. We are getting you prepped with all the ads that are worth it on your waiver wire this week. We're going through Kadarius Toney, obviously some of the running back situation, massive injuries to Russell Wilson, CEH, Saquon Barkley. The list goes on and on. Let the bodies hit the floor, which means let's go pick up some waiver wire guys right away. Set those priorities, get the FOB bids in, and we're going through all of that and more right here on the Fantasy Whispers.
Right here.
Let the body set the flow. Let the body set the flow. Let the waivers hit the flow. What's up, Big Travie, dude?
I had to give you the opportunity to get a little song in on this
yeah,
Tuesday morning.
dude. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate the T-ball setup for me. How are we doing? Tuesday, waiver wires, like you said. Bodies hitting the floor. We got a major update on projections here, like they would say, on guys on the waiver wire, because there was a lot of injuries. Travis, we will dive into these guys. Once again, I want to start off the show with the caveat of we will dive into players that are below 50% rostered on Sleeper. So that is the cutoff, so we don't just ramble on for hours and hours, because we all know I could do that. Big Travis sets that parameter, so appreciate you. And
I just wanted to hop in too, because what a wild week 5 we had, Johnny, right? Like the setup is here at Jersey J saying, "Hey fellas, how are you getting, Trav? What's going on, guys?
Morning. Jersey J.
Appreciate you guys in here. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you're new to the channel. But yeah, we had a wild week 5, right? Absolutely bonkers. What was the good? Well, we had monster performances by Justin Herbert, Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Mike Williams, Antonio Brown, Derrick Henry. You know, maybe that made or broke your fantasy day. What was the bad? We had injuries, like I said at the top of the show, Russell Wilson, Saquon Barkley, CEH. And what was the ugly? Well, those emails, John Gruden's emails. Dude. So we had a wild week 5. But as Johnny said, we got to talk about these guys that are over 50%. We know I really thought this is going to be a larger waiver wire column this week. But there are a lot of guys that are rostered. And so what I want Whisper Nation to really do is when we get that article posted in about an hour, a little less, make sure that you're checking those bold names in the intro. And I'll just list them off for you here, Whisper Nation and Johnny. First of all, Jerry Jeudy, go out and grab him if he's out there. He's out rostered in 81% right now. But if people dropped him, he's about to come back maybe in a week or two. And so he's definitely worth an ad right now, as we know he's going to come back into some massive target share. We know him and Teddy had a rapport. Damian Williams, if he's still out there, 80%. Joe Burrow, if you lost Russell Wilson, he's sitting there on your waiver, 78%. Dalton Schultz, 78%. Dawson Knox, Emmanuel Sanders, Elijah Mitchell, who got the bulk of the carries, relegated Trey Sermon.
That was a good call
to the bench there. Appreciate that. Michael Carter, who's kind of quietly taken over. AJ Dillon, Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, who's got some great matchups and putting some good stuff on paper. Baker Mayfield. We got Hunter Renfrow, obviously still not being bought by a lot of Whisper Nation out there, but he's getting the targets. Rondell Moore, Johnny's boy here. Mecole Hardman, who saw 12 targets in that Buffalo game. Definitely worth an ad, in my opinion. Then Alex Collin and Hunter Henry are kind of the bubble boys, sitting there at 51%. So make sure we're going out there to look at all these guys. I didn't write about them in the column because they're rostered over that threshold there, but I wanted to make sure that Whisper Nation got a hold of those guys first and foremost. And then we'll start rocking into this other stuff. Jersey J asked, I meant how you're feeling. I'm feeling a lot better. I appreciate Whisper Nation. Always hanging out and showing up for me, so really appreciate that. But I mean, we can start rocking and rolling into this. We'll get into the questions, obviously, Jersey J, and those that are asking questions in the chat, we'll get to those at the end of the show. But like we said, we want to rock through these waiver wires.
Before we do that, Big Travie, I just got to give a one quick live read here, as we do on the show. I want to thank the sponsors of today's show, Big Travie. That would be Manscaped. Listen, have you ever tried to trim your balls and it turned into the Freddy Krueger film? Yeah, I have. But luckily, luckily Manscaped came to the day and saved it, because they are here. Hey, make sure you're smelling fresh with their new refined body wash. Fellas and ladies love their signature scent. and it will scare away those vampires. Just like, we went from Freddy Krueger to vampires.
Dude, it's getting spooky, dude. Halloween's around the corner.
It's very scary. And all you need to do to unlock that confidence is get that Performance Package 4.0. Inside, you'll find the holy grail of men's grooming items. They've made it easy for you to upgrade your grooming routine. It's a full moon out there, and the werewolf in your pants is howling. Ow! And it's time to tackle the problem with the Lawnmower 4.0. Just use the promo code TFWMAN for 20% off. That's TFWMAN for 20% off. Greatly helps our channel, helps us grow, and you get to tame that werewolf in your pants. So that's all I got. That's all I got on the live promo feed there.
Dude, I gotta say that live read was about as smooth as your balls would be if you went and got Manscaped and took care of it right here. So
exactly,
dude,
TFW
everybody
man.
in the chat right now, if you want to get 20% off plus free shipping, make sure you use that code TFWMAN at manscaped.com.
All right, Travis, that is done now. The business is done. The business part of it's all done. Now we can really talk some fun stuff, some running backs here, which everyone has a thirst for running backs, especially as we get deeper and deeper in the league or into the year. And Big Travie, we got some bye weeks coming up. Bye weeks coming up, so you're going to need to fill in some of those spots. The very first running back we're going to talk about here is Devontae Booker. Devontae Booker, New York Giants running back. Roster on just 12% of sleeper leagues. Big Travie. Obviously, if you haven't seen, Saquon Barkley getting, his ankle rolled up, and that thing swelling. Oh man, that thing swelling up bigger than my noggin on Sunday. And so as a result, they're saying Saquon out 2 to 4 weeks with an ankle injury, and Devontae Booker comes in number 1 on this list for you. Tell the people why you're so excited about Devontae, why you think he is a good number 1 waiver wire priority if you have the number 1 and you think.
Yeah, excited isn't exactly the right word. I'm excited not about Devontae Booker. I'm excited about his
excitement into the show here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. But a lot of people would tell you maybe Darrel Williams is their number 1 waiver wire priority. I have a little bit of trepidation when I look at Darrel Williams, and we'll get in more to him later, but this is really about what we're talking about with Devontae Booker. And what Devontae Booker was able to do was play 88% of the snaps, carry the ball 16 times, get 3 catches, essentially get 19 touches in this offense, nearly 20 touches, score a touchdown, get you 20 PPR fantasy points, and really not be that far off of a Saquon Barkley production as far as volume is concerned. And if we look at the backfield outside of Devontae Booker, it was Elijah Penny for 1 carry, and he's essentially a fullback. So really, the volume is what's key here. We've got all these weapons down in New York potentially over the next few weeks as well. Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Kenny G, Daniel Jones. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And really what this is all about is the fact that the volume is there for me for Devontae Booker. Then you look at the schedule for Booker. He's got the Rams, Kansas City, and Vegas in 3 of the next 4. All great matchups. Got that Carolina matchups, which is tough, but the volume should carry him. And I think if we're talking about a 4-week window for Saquon, Devontae Booker could easily float you that RB2 value you need over the next 4 weeks. And I think, we're looking at rentals across the board as we get down into these running backs right now because nobody's really out for the year yet in what we're going to talk about. So this is a situation where I like Booker, and I think he is the priority ad for running backs. I will say, I don't think he's the priority ad on the list today, and I don't think he's the priority ad for Giants. So there's a little teaser there, but I do think Devontae Booker is a huge ad this week.
All right, I like that one, Big Travie. I just want to mention we got a couple people here asking questions in the comments. We will get to those comments or those questions after the show on the Q&A. We're just going to get through the main part of the show, and then we'll jump in. So appreciate you all leaving those comments. We'll get through them. All right, next up on this list, Big Travie, we got possibly your number 1. You hinted at it. Maybe it isn't your number 1, but we got on here running back Darrel Williams, Kansas City Chiefs, roster only just 19% of sleeper leagues. CEH, better news than we expected, right? We thought he might be out for the year. He got that kind of David Montgomery, excuse me. I almost said Monty Williams because of Phoenix Suns. I'm hyped on the Suns about to start, if you can't tell. David Montgomery had the similar. We thought it was going to be a year long, end up being just a MCL sprain, which is great news. He will be back. 3 to 5 week timetable, similar to Monty. So Darrel Williams comes in number 2 on this list, but is he number 1 in your waiver wire priority, or are you still hinting towards somebody else? And break down why you like Darrel Williams.
Yeah, so I do like Darrel Williams because basically Kansas City likes him. He doesn't have a lot of juice or a lot of pop, right? He's not going to be anything flashy, but Kansas City has kept him on the roster. He's always been a guy that works instead or in relief of guys that go down. But again, you know, Darrel Williams was on this roster last year when he was banged up a little bit, when CH was banged up a little bit, and there was still tandem guys worked in and out of this offense. And I think Jerick McKinnon still exists on this roster. I'm not sure that Darrel Williams is going to soak up all of the passing work. Now, there isn't a lot of passing work to go around in Kansas City. They're not using the backs a lot to throw to, but I will just say this. I think that there is some limited upside with Jerick McKinnon on the roster and still available to come in for, you know, I think he had out-touched McKinnon. Yeah, it was like 8-5, 8-3. And so in that game, and so that's still something that's going on here for Darrel Williams that we need to keep an eye on. And I think that's, you know, that's just what limits him against a guy like Devontae Booker, who we saw get 88, 90, 95% of the work when Saquon went down. And we're only going on one game, so this could flip. You know, Darrel Williams could go and dominate touches. But if I have to make an assessment for you guys for Whisper Nation on what's going to happen over the next 4 weeks, I do think that Devontae Booker's upside's better than Darrel Williams because he's going to have more volume. And the matchups are nice there. And again, the backs aren't thrown to a lot in Kansas City.
I will say that Darrel Williams has a beautiful schedule. Washington this weekend, then the Titans, who just everyone and their mother can run on them. Then he gets the Giants, then the Packers are the next 4 games. So quite nice schedule there. But like you said, it's
like
not
Booker's schedule is good too, because he's got 3 out of 4 games. And so he's got volume plus the schedule. Yeah. That's why he tilts the needle just a little bit for me. But I do think that both are worth the ad if you're trying to float that RB2 situation.
Yeah, I definitely do think that if you need to, you know, kind of skate by, if you had a Monty Williams injury or CEH, grabbing one of these 2 guys can allow you to bridge that gap. It's not going to be quite the same production level, but again, you're getting that upside and to fill you through bye weeks, you could do much, much worse. All right. Next up, once we get through these 4 running backs, Travis, I will talk about, then I'll give you some running backs that you potentially want to drop or players that you'd want to drop for him. Okay. So third on this list, you've got Khalil Herbert, Chicago Bears running back, roster on just 21% of sleeper leagues. Listen, we thought Damian Williams would come in and get the bulk of the carries, which he did.
And he did.
He did. Yeah. And he got the touchdown there. But you're letting Whisper Nation know, hey, you might, especially in deeper leagues, you might want to take a look at Khalil Herbert for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There's a fall off at running back this week, a big drop off. So after the 2, after the 2 we talked about, these other 2 are just kind of consolatory picks, or, you know, like for me, it's like we've got Khalil Herbert in here, and then we'll also talk about Rhamondre Stevenson a little bit next. Khalil Herbert, look, he got the carries. We talked about this backfield getting about 34 carries in that game against Vegas. They controlled the tempo of this game the entire time. They were never basically trailing in this game. The Bears controlled the clock. They ran the ball 34 times. But, Johnny, they play Green Bay and Tampa Bay over the next 2 weeks. And I think that that's going to render Khalil Herbert a little bit useless because he didn't get a single target in the passing game. We know that Damian Williams is a legitimate pass catcher in this offense. We know he's going to do that because he got all the work in this as well. And we will see, actually, with Fields now the starter, how much they will throw to the backs, because we've seen rushing quarterbacks actually scramble instead of actually getting out there and throwing to the backs and checking down. So for me, Herbert, I think, had a perfect game script on Sunday. And so he's popping for a lot of people because he was like this sneaky ad going into Sunday because he's younger. He's who the regime maybe likes over a guy like Damian Williams. But remember, they love Damian Williams in the offseason. Remember, Damian Williams dealing with a thigh bruise coming into that game. So maybe they realized the game was in hand. They used the young man to spell him a little bit. And I believe that Damian Williams is going to be the Montgomery role in this offense, and they will work in Herbert as a little change of pace, especially in these games. Again, they're playing Tampa Bay and then Green Bay over the next 2 games. So Green Bay next and then Tampa Bay after that. And those are all game scripts that probably will not favor a guy like Khalil Herbert.
Love that breakdown there and completely agree, Travis. We talked about that schedule when Damian was picked up last week, and you figure, yeah, Damian will probably tend to get more usage with those matchups. And not only that, but we did see and expect that they would run a little bit more. That was the report that came out early Sunday morning, was that they expected to employ a heavier run game plan. And listen, we can expect that from Bill Lazor. That was why we got excited when he was named rumored to be taking over the play calling. Now we know it's in fact him. This is what he tends to do. He tends to want to run the ball a little bit more, which we like in fantasy football. All right. Moving on to this last running back name, like you said, it's a much more, it's like a stocking stuffer more than, that Christmas waiver wire present that you would hope to get Monday or, on waiver wire morning. But that is, even Potter's excited about this one, I guess. He likes the stocking stuffers there. Rhamondre Stevenson, New England Patriots running back, roster on just 17% of sleeper leagues. Positive news coming back. This is, once again, more positive news for running backs, but Damian Harris comes back with negative tests on those ribs, but he did also fumble in this game. Travis, you want to talk about Rhamondre Stevenson, the preseason heartbreak kid?
Yeah, Stevenson obviously dominating the preseason, then fumbling in week 1, blowing a blitz assignment as well, and not seeing the field until last week, because of basically injuries to James White, and then you saw like JJ Taylor last week the week before last against the Buccaneers, fumbling and then getting relegated as a scratch as well. I mean, so it's just like these guys are trading off mistakes, and I think putting Belichick in a tough spot because he wants to punish them all, but he can't because he's got to roster some of them and put them on the field. Well, so you mentioned the Damian Harris fumble. He then came back into the game, ripped off a 15-yard run, got a chest injury, came back into the game after that, ripped off a 15-yard run. It was called back for holding, and he left the game after that. X-rays come back. They're negative. He should be fine. He's considered day-to-day now, which is something to monitor. Maybe he misses 1 week, I would think, if that. But if he does miss that week, I like Rhamondre in a spot start here. Dallas is a tough team because they are a pass funnel or a run funnel. And teams are getting so far behind on Dallas, they're having to throw into them. So we'll see. I think this is a team in New England that's not very good, but Rhamondre Stevenson did come in, see 11 carries. He didn't do much with them against a really easy defense, so that's concerning. But again, this is the last running back on my list here. He's just worth a speculative ad. If the chest injury lingers or if it gets aggravated, Rhamondre could be in line to be the starting back and at least getting the first and second down work. And guys, he has pass catching prowess. He did it in college, and I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that he gets a few targets a game in this offense because Mac Jones is peppering his running backs and his tight ends quite a bit.
All right. I like those pickups there. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you a couple of guys you might want to consider dropping for any of these players. Okay. So just list the players that you would pick up for or drop this player, said player for. Okay. Trey Sermon. Would you drop Trey Sermon for all of these? All of them?
I think all of them is worth a drop. One, the Niners have their bye this week, so you can't use Sermon even if you wanted to this week. So if you're in that spot and you need it, I think he's worth it. And then again, not only Elijah Mitchell, but if Trey Lance remains the starter now, he sprained his knee, he'll have the bye week to maybe get cleared. But that dude ran it 16 times. So if he's going to continue to take carries, he's going to take them even from Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon. And then we're looking at maybe a late October, early November return for Jeff Wilson, which would be another key piece in this. And it just seems like this team wants to use Elijah Mitchell first and foremost as the Raheem Mostert role. And why not? I mean, he is definitely a guy that is fast and electric, and Trey Sermon is not those things right now.
All right, Alex Collins. Would you drop Alex Collins for any?
So no, Alex Collins actually probably would have been close to a top waiver ad here had he not been already rostered in the percentage threshold. So I would keep Collins. I think I would take Devontae Booker over Collins because of the pass catching work, and because I trust the matchup a little bit more. And Geno Smith coming in kind of scares me. I guess if Daniel Jones were to miss time, that would be a little bit concerning. But I'll take Booker's volume. I would keep Alex Collins over Darrel Williams, though.
Okay. And let's see if I can find one more. What about Kenyon Drake with the news?
I don't think it's enough to get me going on both of those guys. Like I'm taking Devontae Booker and Darrel Williams over Kenyon Drake. I could understand keeping Khalil Herbert, but I think I might take Drake. But it's tough, man. Barber's hurt too. So if Peyton Barber's on the turf toe thing and Jacobs were to go down, I think Drake has a path. It's a clearer path, but we need to see what this coaching staff's going to do. So that would kind of be my cutoff there.
All right. And the last one here, and then we'll move on to the wide receivers. Kenneth Gainwell. Would you drop Kenneth Gainwell? He really hasn't seen much more than 10 he's had 2 games in which he got more than 10 total touches. This last week, he only had 5 total touches and it was against Carolina, which is a tougher run defense. He does get Tampa Bay next, which we know tends to favor the scat back. But are you dropping Kenneth Gainwell for any of these guys?
This is tough. I
have to give you tough ones here.
I would probably drop Gainwell for the top 3, which is Devontae Booker, Darrel Williams, and Khalil Herbert.
Okay.
Actually, I would keep Gainwell over Herbert and Stevenson because I think if you look at that Tampa Bay, you could get a spot start in this week if you had buys. Also, Las Vegas, Detroit, and the Chargers after that, though, and those are great matchups for the running back. Could it mean that Sanders is like going to come in and have great games, which would relegate our guy Gainwell out? I mean, I don't know, but I would consider Herbert kind of in the same boat where matchup doesn't look good over the next few weeks. So I think that's the cutoff. Those top 2 are in a tier in their own right as RB3s with RB2 upside while their starters are out. And Gainwell is more of that flex PPR desperation play.
All right. I know I said one more, but I just came across one other one I want to ask you. Yeah. Latavius Murray. You drop in Latavius Murray.
You could drop Latavius Murray, man.
Okay.
I mean, he doesn't get pass catching that we want. They use Tyson Williams. Maybe they would be in a situation where, maybe they'd be in a situation where they're just trying to shop Tyson Williams, but they used him enough last night to get me nervous. And then Devonta Freeman was used in the passing game and used in that situation. And look, Lamar's just running instead of the backs getting passing work, and we knew this was possible.
Hines for Stevenson. Would you do that?
No, I wouldn't drop Nyheim Hines. You're probably paying in PPR. Most leagues are PPR these days, or some portion, and there's just no path to receiving work right now for Stevenson.
Oh, yeah.
You there, Johnny? I might have lost Johnny here, but we will carry on as we do. The show must go on here. So I'm going to be talking the wide receivers next.
Am I back?
Oh, are you back?
Are we there? Did we?
I think it's delayed.
It could be me. It could be me glitching here. So I apologize if it's me glitching. Is it delayed?
Try hopping.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, try hopping.
All right, I got it. All right, we're good. Must have been it was the internet was freaking out. Yeah, I think we're good. Am I good?
Right, yeah,
I think. Apologize, Whispernation. Technology, gotta love it. All right, that's it for the running backs part. We're gonna run over to the wide receivers here. First one on this list. Hey, yeah, I know, right? First one on this list.
I just love it. Gus Ramos says, "Damn wind."
Right? Exactly, dude. Yeah. That's how I feel. I feel like that. All right, Kadarius Toney, probably the number 1 waiver wire priority. Maybe, I don't know. We'll talk about it, but he is rostered He's roster only 33% of sleeper leagues right now. Big Travie, wide receiver for the New York Giants. They're all banged up. You got, Danny Dimes banged up. You got, you got the running back Saquon banged up. You got every single wide receiver in front of Kadarius Toney banged up. And he comes in as your number one wide receiver priority here. Is he your number one waiver wire priority, Big Travie, in your heart?
Yeah, I think he is, only because the paths to his success are so clear right now. And look at even Mr. Miyagi saying Toney isn't available in my league. Yeah, and that's, I mean, I think that might be because Mr. Miyagi picked him up, but
yeah,
I don't.
Probably...
I think.
Appreciate the shout out.
Yeah,
Mr.
he
Miyagi.
said, yeah, right. He's like, because you suggested picking up Toney last week for a desperation play, and he killed it.
And I was all over on Sunday mornings. Big Trav, you should have seen it. I was telling everyone, trying to spread the word, spread the love to get ahead of it. But here we are.
And, we are. 13 targets. He caught 10 of them for 189 yards, averaged 18.8 yards per reception. And Johnny, he did that on only 54% of the snaps. He got nearly 20 points in standard, had a much better game, obviously, in PPR as well. He had this increased usage due to the injuries to Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton. But then, of course, we saw Saquon Barkley, Kenny G exit this game as well. Very, very vague what's coming out about Kenny G. But I think the bottom line here is that, Kadarius Toney didn't escape without his own dinged up. He had an X-ray on Monday, and it showed negative, so he should be fine.
Was it on that hand that he threw in the punch?
No, it was not. But he definitely threw a punch. He's going to actually miss suspension. So looks like he's dodging bullets on suspension, on the injury. And we have a situation where all these pass catchers, because Saquon is a pass catcher extraordinaire in his own right, and they're going to be out some time. And that means Kadarius Toney, I don't know how you put this back in the bottle. The genie can't go back into the bottle. It can only come out at this point. And I think Kadarius Toney has to be fed in this offense moving forward. And on only 50% of snaps, that's what he was able to do. I mean, you just see the game-breaking possibility. When we get this chance to pick up guys like this, we can't really let it go by. And Rondale Moore showed us a little bit of it, but he hasn't been consistent enough in snap share to really have us all lean all the way in. But Kadarius Toney is a first-round pick for the Giants. They're in desperate need of playmakers, and he is that person. And remember, Kadarius Toney was who the Jaguars wanted. They didn't even want Travis Etienne. They wanted Kadarius Toney. And remember, Kadarius Toney was rising up draft boards towards the end of the draft. I remember us talking about him, and we're seeing why. We saw a flash of why. Again, I can't stress this enough. On only 50% of the snaps, this is what he was able to do, which means get him some more snaps and just watch the points flow in.
Yeah, he's rising up on that depth chart. He's the Giants' only receiver.
He's almost the only receiver.
He's got the Rams and the Panthers next to matchups. So it might be a little difficult for him to exceed.
There's going to be tough matchups coming up, but again, volume could float him if we have these injuries in the offense, and we'll just have to see that. And they're going to use him in the slot because that's where Shepard was running. So if Shepard misses more time, they're going to use Toney in the slot, and look at what happened when they did.
Exactly. And then, the next two matchups a little difficult, but then you get the Chiefs, the Raiders, and Tampa Bay Bucks, who've been letting up a lot of points to wide receivers, all of those matchups. So I like you said, I loved how you were talking about once you let the genie out of the, can't really get him back in there. That's how I do feel about Kadarius Toney. I ask you for a friend. Kadarius Toney or Rondale Moore rest of the season?
I would take Kadarius Toney only because I can prove or I can project a little bit more work for him than I can for Rondale Moore because there are no big injuries right now in the Cardinals wide receiving core.
Wow. How dare you disrespect
Max Williams.
Max with two X's, dude.
The receiving core, bro. I said the receiving core.
I will say.
It's possible that some of those targets are going to go his way. That's possible that Hopkins now absorbs again some more of those targets, or AJ Green or Christian Kirk. And I think that's the point, is that it's not as clear that it's going to be Rondale Moore to absorb it. And so I would definitely go with a situation in Kadarius Toney, because we could be looking at this in 3 weeks, Johnny, and say Kadarius Toney is a borderline wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2, and so
we've
that's
seen that from New York before with these rookie wide receivers miss the first couple of games, a la OBJ.
Well, and there's usually 1 or 2 guys right over the last few years as wide receivers have gotten better that break out, and they do it about around this time because it took them a while to get acclimated. They're finally past their rookie wall. The team sees their ability and they break through. We look at Justin Jefferson last year, and we've seen, like you said, OBJ a few years back. So like this is where we're at.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying he's those guys, but it's definitely possible that the upside is there and it's hitting now.
There's a path. That's a good, very valid point. All right, and the next
Johnny, man. We got him frozen on the screen, Whispernation, right here. Look at that take right there. Look at him. He's I don't know what he's doing, man. He's fixing the snare in his headphones. Okay, we'll go to our second wide receiver of the group here, Whispernation, and we're gonna go with a guy in. Let me get myself on the screen here. In Tim Patrick, who is my number 2 wide receiver on the list. Now, again, as I was saying, I thought this was going to be a deeper waiver wire column this week, but a lot of guys are rostered. And we've got a lot of situations, especially in PPR and wide receivers. We got a lot of guys on the waivers or that have been picked up. So we'll see what's dropped. So that's a good reminder to let you know. Look out for who people drop to go pick up other players, because based on buys, based on injuries, they may have to let go of some nice stashes. So make sure you're going to see who your league mates drop. So maybe you can get Kadarius Toney a week early, like we're talking about here. Tim Patrick, though, rostered in 43% of sleeper leagues. I think that when we look at this, we see that Tim Patrick is a couple weeks away from getting Jerry Jeudy back in the offense, which means he is going to continue to do what he's done with Teddy Bridgewater. And if you look at the 4 games that he's played with Teddy Bridgewater, Patrick has 89 yards or a touchdown in each of those 4 contests. He has averaged 14 PPR points per game in those games. And now he's going to take a Raiders squad that's reeling after a tough test against Cleveland next week, though. Patrick is going to face Washington in week 8. So he's got 2 of the next 3 while Jeudy tries to come back against really, really tough or really, really good secondaries to attack here. And Johnny's back, and he's attacking.
Hopefully,
he's attacking that internet and saying, "You're not going to keep me off of here."
No,
Tim Patrick. I don't understand why he's still under 50% roster. This is a guy that's just showed up and showed out for the Broncos, and they're going to continue to need to throw, especially against the teams they're playing against. So I really like him here for as long as Jeudy is rehabbing.
All right, last wide receiver here on this list. We got Marquez Callaway, New Orleans Saints wide receiver, who we thought was going to break out this year. Showed us a big flash in preseason. Has been fairly slow starting the season, but has been starting to slowly build up that rapport. Has had a couple of nice games. What do we do with Marquez? We do know that potentially coming back week 7. Who knows if that actually ends up happening? But Marquez Callaway available on 41% of rosters in sleeper leagues. Why are you suggesting, or why would you want to take a flyer on Marquez right now?
Well, the upside, right? Obviously, we've got Michael Thomas coming back, so that could be something that hinders him, but it could be something that helps him. If defensive attention turns to Michael Thomas, then we have a situation where we have Callaway getting more attention from Jameis Winston, because he's actually played more with Callaway than he has with Michael Thomas. Remember that Jameis Winston has been mostly a backup for his time there, and now as the starter, he's played a lot more with Callaway. He's over the last 3 weeks, he has been averaging 15 points per game in PPR. He's also, over the last 2 weeks, against Washington, he jumped all the way up to 82% of the snaps. He got 8 targets. He got 4 of them for 82 yards and 2 scores. That's the upside we have. It's kind of weak winning, because if he can get deep and we get Winston a little bit unleashed. Now, the problem has been that Winston has been slow to do this. He still didn't pass for over 300 yards in that game, where he had a monster game this last weekend against Washington. And I know it could be tough to roster Callaway. They're on a bye this week, but check out this schedule, Johnny. As soon as they get out of this, they're going to face Seattle, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Tennessee, and Philly. They don't have a tough secondary until week 12 when they play Buffalo.
Ooh.
I mean, this is a great schedule for Callaway. It really opens up here. We're talking about bye weeks coming in. We're talking about injuries happening, guys coming back. This is a nice ad that could maybe float you for your flex over a few of those weeks because of the matchups.
I love that. Okay. I love that last point. That was a great point. Okay. So let me ask you some wide receivers here that you would potentially drop. Well, Juju's an easy one. Definitely drop Juju out for the season with the shoulder. Once again, I'll throw out Trey Sermon. Are you dropping Trey Sermon for any of these wide receivers? Probably Kadarius at minimum.
Yeah, I'll drop him for all of them. I think Sermon is kind of rendered a little bit useless unless an injury happens to Mitchell again, or Wilson comes back and can't get healthy again. I think that's just maybe he's a handcuff for you. Like if you have Mitchell and you want to keep Sermon, I understand that you want to keep your handcuff, but yeah, with buys coming through, I think you can drop him for all these wide receivers.
Curtis Samuel, or Jamison Crowder, would you drop both for?
So I would drop Crowder for Toney, but I would keep him over Tim Patrick and Marquez Callaway because I think there is upside in Crowder. I know he had a bad game, but I think this team is going to throw a ton. And if he continues to be the slot guy for them and running mostly in the slot, that's what it seems to be. We seem to see that it's Corey Davis and Jamison Crowder for this offense. And so if he can continue that snap share and run those routes, then I like him. And he should live on past Patrick because remember, Jerry Jeudy's coming back. Mm-hmm. And then Marquez Callaway, also Michael Thomas is coming back. So I really do think that Crowder's worth the keep here.
Like it. Okay. Gus Ramos asking Jacoby or Toney?
I would take Toney here. I think he just has more upside. I love Jacoby's volume, and the offense is just not as prolific, but Toney seems to be able to rise above whatever the Giants are doing. So at least in this game, and I want to take the upside on that. I want to chance at that upside this year.
All right. I like that. And then let me ask, Brandon Ayuk. Would you drop Brandon Ayuk for everyone on this entire waiver wire column? Gosh,
I think I might. I would. Man. I think I might, dude. I think I might. And I think the reason is there's a few things. I think Ayuk is good. I think he's talented. We saw that last year. I think this team was without Deebo Samuel for a lot of last year, though. And we know that they love Deebo Samuel. They drafted him to be this kind of utility gadget guy that does a lot more. And a gadget in a Shanahan offense is a lot more valuable than another offense. But then furthermore, I just think that Jimmy and Trey Lance seem to have an eye for Deebo. And that's enough for me to know that Ayuk is probably not going to happen this year. And maybe we just saw a few good plays out of Ayuk last year and crowned him a little too early before seeing him play with all these other guys. I will say that maybe Kittle being out could open up some more for Ayuk. So I understand wanting to keep on to him, but I would drop for sure Toney, and I would be highly considering dropping, I would drop Ayuk for Toney, and I would highly consider it for Tim Patrick and Marquez Callaway as well.
All right. I like that a lot. Okay. We're going to jump over these tight ends here. I'm going to just rattle off these 4 tight ends, and you can kind of just speak on you really like the most. We got Ricky Seals-Jones, Washington football team tight end, roster on just 4% of sleeper leagues, kind of filling the role of Logan Thomas out there. You got Evan Engram for the New York Giants, roster on just 7% of sleeper leagues. Obviously talking about Kadarius Toney as the major piece there, but opportunities have opened up for Evan Engram with some nice matchups. You've also got David Njoku, man, who had I don't know how he made that touchdown. I don't know how they didn't catch him, but he scored a long down. He has been popping off for the Cleveland Browns. And then the last one, Zach, the Philadelphia Eagles, whose roster on just 47% of sleeper leagues, Travis, who quietly having a pretty solid tight end production year. And now we get the news that Goddard is going to be on IR. Got COVID, I believe. And so this could really open the door for the Zack Ertz show, at least for the foreseeable future, short-term wise. So out of those 4 tight ends, Travis, you want to talk about your favorites and where you should be going if you need this week.
Yeah, so poor Johnny, man. The chat's going off saying he says get off the dial-up internet. They're saying Maybe you're a Spectrum customer. I thought that was funny. Using your personal hotspot.
Hey, I would rather, honestly, the personal hotspot would probably be better than I've got right now, to be fair.
I think maybe.
Yeah.
The wind is kicking up in Phoenix.
Dude.
But I will go through these guys here for Whispernation. So Ricky Seals-Jones, RSJ, our guy, used to be an Arizona Cardinal. We wanted him to happen there. 93% or more of the routes in back-to-back games. That finally paid off a little bit as he nearly got double-digit fantasy points in PPR last week. He caught 5 of 8 for 41. His usage in the offense is there, and, this offense is going to need to be throwing the ball. We've got injuries to Logan Thomas, Curtis Samuel, and Daimi Brown, but RSJ plays the Chiefs this week, so even as a one-week streamer, it's really good because only 4 teams have allowed more receptions to the tight end than the Chiefs. So I really like Ricky Seals-Jones as maybe the number one ad because I think his volume can actually live on a little bit. Evan Engram would be a close second. As you said, rostered in 37% of the leagues. If we like for, Devontae Booker and for Kadarius Toney, we like the presumed opportunity with all these injuries. Ingram's an interesting ad. Engram has increased his snap share each of the last 3 weeks since being back from injury. 8 points in PPR during the last 2 as well has been his average. Shepard, Slayton, Kenny G, Saquon, Toney, they're all dinged up. And Engram is likely in line for more work as it is, but let's not forget he led the team in targets last year. So I really do think Engram is worth the ad here. David Njoku, the only reason he's ahead of Zack Ertz is because of the upside. There's no doubt that David Njoku is a big athletic tight end that needs more looks. He's just not getting it in that offense. 1, we don't trust Baker a lot to be throwing a ton. And 2, he'd be higher on this list if he could get some of the opportunities other guys are going to have, but he hasn't because obviously Austin Hooper still exists. So it's just like low volume. It's a little bit of whack-a-mole and fool's gold for me with Njoku, but really had to put him on here because I do like it and I don't mind the stash and praying for the upside each and every week. Zach Ertz, look, Goddard's going to the IR. That opens up about 12% of the market share. So that's a little over 4 targets per game for the Eagles. If Ertz absorbs that would be 25% of the market share between his and Goddard's market share, and that would lead the team right now. And so that's an interesting note to add because Ertz has looked washed, but the opportunity alone, the volume alone, could definitely be something to monitor. And then Gus Ramos, I wanted to ask, he says, what do you think of Hunter Henry becoming yes, and not exactly when they're down, but definitely in the red zone. And so because they're down quite a bit, and I think he still uses all these other pieces of the offense. But Hunter Henry makes the honorable mentions of my column. I would take all of these guys ahead of Hunter Henry because I just can't trust. He's still splitting time with Jonnu Smith. There's Jacoby Myers exists there. They still throw to Brandon Bolden. Like there's all sorts of different little things here, and all these other guys I think either have more upside or more path to volume than Hunter Henry. But I don't mind him as a spot starter or a pickup here, especially against Dallas. They're going to need to throw against Dallas. So,
all right. Hopefully I don't have any more robotic-y voice. We'll see. Apparently I was still getting. All right, Travis, I'm moving on real quick to the quarterback. So then, and then we'll get into a bunch of the comments and questions here. Yeah, it's the win, dude.
This is so funny because Gus Ramos is in all caps. So
yeah.
Jersey J says, Gus, why are you yelling?
Why are you?
Miyagi, who knows? Who knows Jersey J? And then it's windy. LOL.
Hey, I like it. Hey.
Such
people going, dude. Get some people going. All right, get people going. Quarterbacks, get the people going. Yeah. And okay, so we got Teddy B, Denver Broncos roster on 24% of sleeper leagues. You got Taylor Heinicke, Washington Football Team quarterback, roster on 26% of leagues. And then you got the Brisket, Jacoby Brisket, who dealing with that hamstring injury.
Right.
Also, some rumors that Tua could be back this week. We'll see what ends up happening there. And then your boy, Mr. 2 Sprained Ankles, makes this list, and Carson Wentz. So tell the people why you like these quarterbacks this week, why you think they're streamers.
So again, a reminder, the threshold is 50%, but if Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, maybe Baker are all sitting there on your waiver, the 3 of those guys at least first, Trevor Lawrence, Sam Darnold, and Joe Burrow, if they're out there, go grab them. ahead of these guys. But I need to talk a little bit about the disrespect of Teddy Bridgewater here as my number one of these streaming options. And this is why. I know Bridgewater isn't sexy but he mostly plays turnover-free football. And given the weapons they have there and his play style, Bridgewater's managed 19 or more fantasy points in 3 of his 5 starts. And one of those starts, he was concussed and left the game early. The schedule is really opening up a bit again for Teddy for fantasy football purposes, because he's going to face 3 defenses in the next 4 weeks that are in the top 7 as far as fantasy points allowed to the quarterback position. So if you lost Russell Wilson, I absolutely love Teddy Bridgewater as the bridge to the gap that you have in your lineup because of Russell Wilson out. So I really like him. I like him even this week. I know Vegas. So Vegas is the one of those defenses that he faces in the next 4 that's technically kind of good against the pass. They've played a lot. I think they've played a lot better than they should be. And so I think that in this game, I think he's got a shot to even put up that 19 or more, just because, again, he's not very mistake prone. And I think, 1 week past the concussion, maybe that fear gets a little bit out of him and he plays a lot better here. I do like him among the 4 that I'm going to talk about today. Taylor Heinicke is another one, though, where the disrespect is there, because he had his worst game as a starter. He didn't get up to that 20 mark or that 18-point mark that we like to see for a quarterback that's stream worthy, because he played the Saints. And other than Daniel Jones, the Saints have been pretty locked down defensively, especially against quarterbacks. So I really like this matchup this week against Kansas City. They're the number 1 team against fantasy quarterbacks. So I really like that as a 1-week streamer at the very least, because they're definitely going to have to throw to keep up with Kansas City, and he's shown that he's capable of doing that. Look back to the Atlanta game, some of these other games where he put up a lot of points and did it. So Jacoby Brissett and Carson Wentz, like, these are kind of flyer streamers, but if you're in 2 quarterback leagues, you got some things going on. Maybe you got Matt Ryan on a bye, Jameis Winston, something else that you've been rocking with Superflex. Brissett has quietly put up 3 back-to-back games that have been, within reasonable starting. He continues to be on a team that can't stop people right now, so I think that's something. Jacksonville, a great matchup. Obviously, if Tua comes back, this would render that useless. But then again, Carson Wentz as well, good matchup as well, who's definitely going to be in an offense that has enough weapons to get him floated. I mean, against Baltimore, who's been a lot tougher against the pass, Wentz looked good. I think maybe the ankles are a little bit behind him now, and they're under him, I guess I should say, not behind him. And he's playing a lot better. So I think Wentz is worth a look on streaming and in 2 quarterback leagues.
All right, let me ask you a couple quarterbacks. Would you drop for any of these guys? Would you drop Trey Lance for any of these guys?
Yeah, I think you can drop. Well, actually, this is tough.
I know.
I like Trey Lance long term, but it sounds like they're not gonna. They are really upset with him as a passer right now, or at least not upset, but concerned. And it does seem like they ran him 16 times and then he got hurt with a sprained knee. I think this could be a wait a year on Trey Lance. So I could understand, like, if you had maybe Russ and Trey Lance and you're looking to move on, I think I could drop Trey Lance for like a Teddy B, because that's going to float you through the Russell Wilson, and then you get to keep on to Russ Wilson, something like that. I don't know if I drop Trey Lance for Taylor Heinicke, but if you need to because of the bye weeks, then you have to do what you got to do. But I would hope that you have something else you can drop to keep Trey Lance and that upside on your roster. What if Garoppolo comes back in, it's a calf injury, tears his Achilles? Then I think they have no choice but to start Lance the rest of the year. You got a situation where Lance is running 16 times a game. That is fantasy gold. So, yeah, I want to keep on to that if I can.
All right. Last question for the quarterbacks. Danny Dimes, who's been
Danny Dimes
dealing with the concussion, but he's been a decent quarterback for you this year.
Yeah, he has been turning it on. Let me take a look. I think we talked about the schedule kind of being decent.
Yeah, he's got a couple of pretty decent matchups coming up here.
Let's see. Well, I mean, the Rams are a little bit tougher on quarterback, so I kind of temper expectations. But then Carolina, Kansas City, Las Vegas before the bye. I mean, if he can come back from the concussion, I don't mind keeping Daniel Jones over Teddy B and Taylor Heinicke. And the difference is because of the rushing. I mean, look at this: 27, 39, 95, 27 rushing yards. I mean, that's like he's averaging about a 4-point floor in just rushing alone, and that's what you need. And then 400 yards against New Orleans. That he's the only guy to throw on New Orleans this year. So yeah, I do like Daniel Jones, especially if Kadarius Toney and some of these weapons start coming back. he could really get to his ceiling.
And he has that sneaky rushing upside that we all know about. All right, so we're going to jump into this Q&A. I just want to give a couple of honorable mentions that Big Travie puts in his article. Just so if all these guys, if you're in deep roster or deep leagues like we are, and sometimes a lot of these guys aren't available, also look for Jarrett McKinnon, Samaje Perine, Chris Moore, Rashad Bateman, who are getting some questions on in the chat. We'll go over that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Preston Williams, Jameis Winston, Geno Smith, Ben Roethlisberger, and Davis Miles.
Mills. Sorry.
Sorry. I don't know why I called him Miles. Davis Mills.
Mills.
Davis Mills. I'm just going to call him Davis Miles from now on. No, I'm just kidding. Davis Mills, quarterback for the Houston Texans, actually kind of showing some nice stuff there. So once again, if you want to get this article, it will be posted on the fantasywhisperers.com. So make sure you go and check that out, as well as previous articles, because those come in handy as well, because sometimes players are dropped. You want to know about, what we think or what our take is on them. Go and check out some of those past waiver wire articles, and you can read up on them. Very exciting stuff over at the fantasywhisperers.com. All right, Travis, let's jump into this Q&A. Appreciate everyone in the chat who has stuck around, asking those questions, watching the show. Let's jump in here. Appreciate you. If you're new, let us know. Give us a like and subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notified anytime we drop new content, which is daily. And we'll also give you a shout out if you let us know in the comments that you subscribe. All right, Travis. Jersey J coming in here asking, would you drop Gainwell to grab Gaskin? Ooh, Gaskin had a major pop-off game finally.
Man, and, I think I might, because Tua's coming back, so maybe they have something there that could open up a little bit for more of this offense. So there might be more upside. He didn't really see anything in the rushing game, but he saw a ton of targets. He led the team in targets and got a receiving touchdown. So I do think Gaskin has some upside there, especially in PPR. Gainwell, he definitely probably has
three out of the next 4 games are beyond juicy. Jags, Falcons, he gets the Bills, which you don't like that, but then the Texans. So
great matchups there.
Yeah.
I think I would do that.
Yep. Yeah, I think I would do as well. All right, we got drop Patrick for Judy.
Yeah, I think if you're comfortable, if you're looking at like 3-2 or 4-1 or something like that, Jersey J, where like you just want to stash for later on, because here's the thing, he could come back in week 7, but I think they play a Thursday night game in week 7, so they're pushing it to maybe say he comes back in week 8. Yeah. And so you're looking at some other things here with Judy that could get in your way. And so, but if you need wins now, I think Tim Patrick's doing it. He's doing what he needs to do right now. And so he is a flex in PPR right now. And I don't know if I'd be dropping that to go stash something later if you need wins. So
got it. BGWU says, hey boys, what's up? Can't stay for long because I got in a car crash recently.
Oh man, I hope you're all right, man.
Hope everything is good, brother. Insurance call. Okay. But I want to know your opinions on Gaskin, Miles Sanders, and Zach Moss next week.
Yeah. So I'm liking Moss. I think he's definitely probably the guy I'm liking the most out of these backs here. Especially because Miles Sanders plays Tampa Bay. You look at Buffalo, they play Tennessee. So
yeah, that should be.
This is another team they could easily boat race and get into a shootout with. And so that could be something that gives you touchdown opportunities. I think Moss is definitely a guy that I like the most. Gaskin, again, has the nice matchups, but the usage has just been so volatile. I'm not trusting him here. And in fact, I'm probably trusting Miles Sanders in a bad matchup over Gaskin this week, because I know that I don't know that they want to use Gaskin. They show it here and there, but then they don't do it the next week. So that's where I'd be at. If I ranked these guys, it'd be Zach Moss, Miles Sanders, then Gaskin for next week.
Yeah. What's wild is he still is averaging, like he's running well. They're just not giving him a lot of carries yet. So yeah, it's odd.
Telling us about his ball shaving. He said LMFAO. I can't say that has happened. Those things come out smooth as eggs. Mr. Miyagi, God bless, bro.
Hey, God bless you, man. I love that. Jersey J asking again, I have Jeff Wilson Jr. stashed in my IR spot. Do you see him having an impact on the coming weeks?
The last update was November. They were hoping early November. We'll see if that maybe gets progressed. He's eligible to come back before then off the pup. Starting after this week, he'd be eligible. It's 6 weeks at least. But I think that we'll start to hear more news. I think he's definitely in line to be the touchdown vulture, which has been valuable in the past in this offense. I don't know if we're dealing with the same San Francisco offense with the troubles at QB, Kittle out, but I do think that Elijah Mitchell will remain kind of the Mostert role. Jeff Wilson will kind of fill in as the secondary piece. So maybe they run less with the quarterback. They stop using Kyle Juszczyk as much. I think that's the thing. That's what's possible for Jeff Wilson, but it would always depend on who you drop to keep him. So
I agree. We got George asking Antonio Brown and Cortland Sutton for Cordero Patterson and Hunter Renfrow in half PPR.
I would keep AB and Sutton in this deal.
Yeah. I like that.
I love Cordero Patterson, but I do like what Sutton's doing. I think what was the stat that Ian Hart said about Cortland Sutton? That he's in rare form of having 600 air yards through 5 weeks. And some of the guys that are in that are like DJ Moore and some of these other like top alphas. And so that's something to look at with Sutton, is that he's getting the job done. And now that Bridgewater is getting healthy, I like that offense. It's a low-key mid-range offense that does well, and they're efficient.
Yep. Mr. Miyagi asking, with Hawk acting up, I'm going Hunter Henry as a backup for the Dallas game. Not a bad move. But with Goddard going on to COVID IR, do you think Ertz is a better pickup?
Yeah, so we talked about Ertz. He would be the fourth of the tight ends I mentioned. He does make it above honorable mentions for me, because I think, the volume, like I said, he could get up to the 25% target market share. And if he does that, that's going to lead the Eagles. And that's what we want in our tight ends. If they can be up there in the lead for targets, or they're a touchdown guy that we can try to, they get red zone targets, which Ertz isn't really getting, but he has a shot at getting more volume here. And I think that's why he makes the list.
Yep. Bryant asked, Ayuk droppable for Toney? Yes.
Yeah, as we said, I think Ayuk is droppable for even Tim Patrick in the right situation, and even Marquez Callaway.
JT86TN, appreciate you jumping in here. Hit that like and subscribe if you could for us. Trying to get to 3,000 subs.
Let's go.
Let's go. Need a running back for Kamara's bye. Have Damian Harris, but not sure about him. Who do you like between these options to pick up? Darrel Williams, Miles Sanders, and Javonte Williams. Oh, I'm going Javonte Williams on this.
Yeah, I would definitely go with Javonte Williams as well. The upside is just there. The offense I trust a little bit better. His usage has been so consistent. I mean, it is only 50%, but it's a good 50%. He's averaging about 10 to 12 touches. So that's what we like to see.
Yep. Brett Johnson coming in here, still riding high from the Monday night show.
I bet he is.
Yeah, I bet you is. And it says looking great this morning. Appreciate you,
Brett.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so good, dude. If you guys don't tune in to our Monday night stream, you should. It's a lot of fun. We watched the game.
It got absolutely wild last night.
Yeah. We root for people. You let us know what you got and all that stuff. It's a good time. Join us on Monday night for the Monday night football streams. All right, B-Dubs asked Javonte or Darrel Williams. I'm going Javonte.
Yeah, if this is a waiver ad, I'm going Javonte for sure.
Yeah. All right, we got Brad Montgomery asking Rhamondre Stevenson, Hyde, Engram, or Peyton Barber off the waiver. Thin.
Yeah, this is really thin here. I would go with Rhamondre only on the outside chance he's got more upside. Hyde could be a healthy scratch. Engram has just been non-existent and on a bad team. Barber's dealing with turf toe. So Rhamondre is the only one with a slight chance at making some value here for you, Brad.
All right. Let's see. Got to make it through.
What about Bateman? B-Dub's asking about Bateman. So, yeah, as I said, honorable mention. My problem with Bateman is it's not that he's not exciting. It's not that there's some upside there, because obviously the Ravens talked about using him as the focal point of their offense, and they changed their offense. But Marquise Brown right now and Mark Andrews are riding hot, and I don't think there's going to be a ton of volume in what we've seen as a low volume passing attack over the last couple of years for Bateman to come in and really do a ton with. So I think he's going to be an interesting stash, and you keep him there. But if you've got to go get some guys like Tim Patrick, Marquez Callaway, and then, of course, Kadarius Toney that are actually making an impact now, that's what I would be doing.
You've got BGW asking Miles Sanders, Toney if I get him, Gaskin, Jacoby, or Moss at flex.
Who do the Giants play?
I just had that up. Hold on.
The Rams.
The Rams, yeah.
I'm trying to fight back.
I'd probably go Moss. I'd probably go Moss.
I think I would go Moss here as well, but Toney would push him. That would be an interesting one to try and look at playing, just because if everybody's out, volume alone, even if he's working against that tough secondary, the weakest corner in the Rams secondary, the slot corner. So if Sterling Shepard's out, we're going to see a situation where Toney's going to be seeing a lot of slot snaps.
Yep. All right. I have Tannehill and Danny Dimes. Titans versus Bills, and if Jones doesn't go, what's your QB to pick up for a 1 week scenario? Probably Teddy B.
Yeah, I love Teddy B. I will say that Taylor Heinicke has the better matchup, but I do love is Burrow available in that league? Because if Burrow's available, he plays Detroit, and he came back and cleared the throat situation. He's the throat goat.
Yeah, so, the throat goat.
So make sure you take a look and see if he's out there.
BGWU coming in. When will Waller be elite again?
It's kind of weird because Waller's not necessarily not elite at the tight end position, just because the way the position works. He is getting the usage. He is getting the targets. He's leading the team in target share. He's just not getting 19 targets. I think we got a little bit too excited because he got 19 targets in week 1, and we thought he's going to be this elite, nothing can stop him tight end. Right now, he's falling into line with pretty much all the other tight ends, but he's still a top 5 option at the position. You're not dropping him. You're only trading him if you can get a tight end back that's, maybe in the 6 through 10 range and a running back that's startable. That's the situation I'd be trading a Waller, but that's about it. For me,
I'd probably be trying to go trade for him.
Yeah, I think he is a little bit of a buy low. We could see a situation where this team has to stop doing what Gruden wanted, and they could start throwing a whole lot more. They could start opening this offense up. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with the Raiders, but we do know his talent, and we know that Carr loves him. And so that's what we got on the docket.
Drew asking, appreciate you, Drew, from stopping in here. Yes, Chubb and Thielen for Cook. PPR. Should I do this trade?
Chubb,
I don't think I would.
No, I would not do this.
I would.
Banged up, and
unless you have Cook. If you have Cook, and I would do this, Neil.
Yeah.
Are you dropping Patrick or Waddle for Toney? Oh, there you go.
I'd drop both of those guys. I would drop both of those guys. Yeah.
Would you?
Patrick is a rental because I think Jerry Jeudy comes back and takes a lot of that work from him. It'll be Sutton and Jeudy. I think that's just naturally what will happen. Waddle is somebody that just is inconsistent. He's a rookie that's inconsistent right now. And he's getting some targets in some games, and then some games he's not. Go get Toney. The upside, Waddle wants to be like Toney, right? Yeah. Toney has already flashed what he can do, and we haven't seen that at all from Waddle. We've just seen high targets. So, yes, I would go and get Toney if I could.
I would rather drop Patrick than Waddle, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. But I think that Toney is a guy that, has league-winning upside. I don't think people are seeing that right now, but he definitely does. And neither of those guys 100%. For me have that. Waddle could maybe touch a little bit of that. Maybe I think Waddle could be 70% Toney's upside, but I don't think that's enough for me. So
interesting. Okay. A defense question. Someone dropped the Bills. Should I? Oh yeah, you got to pick
absolutely.
them up. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. They're becoming matchup proof.
Yeah.
They play the Jets again. Good. Obviously, I think you said they play Houston coming up. So
I was 1 year ahead with that Bills defense, man. I thought they were going to be this last year and they didn't. So Bills defense, probably number 1 the rest of the season. I would definitely pick them up, even if you have to play some fob on them. I would just to lock them up because they're that good. They're a difference maker at your defense position. All right, Big Travie, we have made it through the show. We have made it through all the questions. We appreciate everyone for joining us today. Once again, if you want to read more about these players, you didn't get enough on this channel, on this video, make sure you go over to thefantasywhispers.com. You can read the full article that Big Travie is going to drop. I will leave the link in the description once that is posted, so you can also check there. if you're new to the channel, on your way out, make sure you hit that bell, hit that subscribe for us. Really helps our channel. Hit that like. And any other things you want to add, Big Trey, before we sign off?
No, just make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, but also make sure you're subscribed over on the website. Obviously, we've got the rankings that come out over there. You can check out all the articles that get posted all the time. And so just make sure you're part of Whispernation over there. And then, of course, if you want to support the show in a bigger way, like I know you guys, we appreciate all the support continuing to jump in the live stream. But if you're looking for another way to just kind of help us continue to grow the brand, head over to patreon.com/the Fantasy Whispers. We're giving away a Keenan Allen jersey signed this week.
Yes.
So, yeah, I would just go ahead and get over there and support, man.
Yeah. All right. Good luck on waivers tonight, Whisper Nation. Hopefully you get the players you want. Until tomorrow when we stream for the Fantasy Whispers, that's Big Trappy. I'm Johnny Game Time Hicks, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.
Right here.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. If you still have a lot to say about fantasy football, maybe you want to give Johnny a little bit of crap for his take today, then go on over to our Discord channel and join the conversation there. Click the link in the description below. And if you still want more content, check out one of these videos.